Alright guys, it's Charlie Tango 1994 back with another YouTube video. We're about 4 or 5 weeks now into staying at home because of the coronavirus, and over the last couple of weeks we've been working on kind of projects for the summer, and just whilst we've got some spare time at home, tidying things up generally. The grass, for example, hadn't been cut since October, so that's had 2 or 3 goes over it in the last couple of weeks, and we've got the decking sorted out to some degree with the garden furniture. This is where I shoot some of my YouTube reviews, and I thought, since I've not done it before, I'd do a quick shot of the old Radio Shack where I keep all my radio equipment and all that stuff. And some of this stuff is probably going to be recognisable anyway. I've shot quite a lot of videos out here in the garden, and obviously you'll see in a minute inside the shack itself. So you see these amazing pictures, don't you, of people's Radio Shacks, dials and radios are everywhere. And there's been times when I've had a lot of equipment in the shack, but really all it is just a corner of this old garage. So let's take a wander down there. At the moment nothing's set up, which is why I wanted to start shooting this video from here, because what I'll do is get the radio kit back out, get it all connected back up. But for the time being, the space that is normally occupied by radio equipment has got my DJ controller in, because during the coronavirus stuff I've been live streaming music for friends, and I've got a little bit of a following on Mixcloud, stuff like that, so that's what's been keeping me busy. It's a garage like every other, full of things, various shapes and sizes, quite a lot of camping gear, quite a lot of exercise gear, which I have to say at the moment again is getting quite a lot of use. I've been back on the old dumbbells for about 5 or 6 months, and obviously with the coronavirus thing as well, just doing some exercise every day is useful. But I've got an old heavy bag, speed ball, all sorts of bits and bobs that do occasionally still get used, but it does mean reorganizing, and that's primarily what the last couple of weeks have been about, is kind of getting this space back to usable again. During the winter it doesn't get used much, obviously it gets bloody cold out here, so I tend not to be on the radio much during the winter unless the weather's fairly mild, and things are a bit disorganized generally in terms of electrical, musical equipment, all that. So the task today is to get this space clear, get the radio back out, get it connected to the area, which we'll also take a look at, and that's the way it's going to be set up. I'm going to be moving the decks somewhere else in the house, so we'll get the old Radio Shack back and start seeing if we can get any signals in. So I'll be back shortly with a bit more of an update. So there we go, that's the first stage. It's just clearing the main shelf, and then the shelf above that as well that was full of clutter. I've cleared all that so I can put radio equipment and accessories up there. There's not a vast amount of stuff to move, to be honest, but I do want to get things set up so we can start trying to get some signals in, basically. So I'll get myself organised. There's stuff strewn all over the place, so I've got to start finding which bits have got radio equipment in and stuff. So we'll work on that and I'll come back to you. So we cleared one shelf and already stuff's starting to come together. We'll carry on. I've still got a couple more crates to get through, and really pull out all the CB radio stuff, leads, all sorts of stuff we've got somewhere. So I just want to get it all in one place. Once I've done that, we'll start having a closer look at what's there. So really just a good little reorg, strip stuff down, reorganise stuff into the different crates. All the radio gear now is there. There's actually not as much stuff as I thought there was. I know there's a few bits missing. I've got some stuff in the radio bag as well at the moment. There's a SWAR meter missing and that. There's also at least one whip antenna that's missing, so I'm assuming that's still in the back of the car. But everything else is there. I've got just one sort of random box of bits and bobs, a couple of mag mounts, got thing for mast. I forgot what you call that. The PMR radios in there, I think. Yeah, in there. Yeah, that sort of stuff. 4-pin mic, sundry stuff, patch leads. Got a rubber duck aerial there. Just stuff. So that will sit somewhere. Because I'll be dipping into that, no doubt, as we set things up and need to test certain bits and pieces. The other bits are 2 brand new radios. I'm actually in the middle of these, are listed on eBay at the moment, but the CRT Xenon and Thunderbolt T2000 I did a review of really recently, just in the last few days. So they've recently been posted. They'll be going out probably on Monday if they both sell, and that's going to pay for at least another rig, possibly 2 other rigs to review for the channel. So there'll be some more videos to see during this lockdown season, and that's, you know, that's the start of things. I'm going to move the crate out of the way. We'll have a closer look at the other bits that I've got, as well as the radios, and then we'll start thinking about plugging the radio in and that. So these are most of the bits I wanted to show you, really. Not sure I'm going to be putting everything, I'm not going to be putting everything in line, but just to show you, I've got the Anytone 5555, which I've had for about 2 years. To be honest, I've not really, because it's not been plugged in the whole time. I wasn't really on the radio much last year, for one reason or another. And what I'll also tell you is, of recent times, so over the last sort of 12 to 18 months, signals have really dropped away for me. Now that's something that I want to do some more videos about, and certainly I'm going to show you my antenna in a bit. And as I said before, I've really noticed a drop in the number of signals. Now I don't know if that's atmospheric, if it's problems with the aerial, whatever else, but that's part of the reason I want to get the rig set up and be using it this summer, if nothing, to help me through the lockdown days. But I'm not sure how successful we're going to be, and that's part of the reason I wanted to do this today. So that is the radio of choice. This will probably be my home base for a number of years, unless I ever replace it with something better, should we say. But that gives me the sideband and 10 meter if I want it. And yeah, it'd be great to get some new signals in 2020, especially whilst this is all going on. So that's part of what this setup video is all about. Whilst we're looking at them, I'll just show you the 2 separate power packs I've got. I run 2 quite often because I have more than one rig on the go at any one time, or I'm testing one while I want one other to be in situ. The other thing you can do, I've got a little baby amp here, but I've had various different burners over the years. This is a 40 watt, I think this is. I've got my finger over it. Yeah, KL40. So they do a 35 nowadays. I think this is a little bit older, this one. And again, I've not really used it. It's there if I ever wanted to give anything a push. The other thing that I might do at some stage is take it out with us when we do a portable. Again, just to see if we can push the signal out a little bit more. Not super powerful. Not even sure if it works that well, but it's just one of the things that I've had floating around for many years. In talking about amps and stuff as well, I've got something that I've never used. This was a bit of a homebrew thing that I bought from someone else. Good kit though, no issue with the build quality, but it's a little preamp. I think again it's 40 watts, something like that. Not really sure. I don't think I've ever really used it. So again, we might, if I run short of video ideas over the next couple of weeks, we might plug that in and see what we get in terms of increased signal, if any. These are the ideas that I've got. And then lastly is, well, I say lastly, but this is my old antenna matcher that again I did a video of a couple of years ago. Again, if we see issues as we're reconnecting the radio in terms of mismatching on SWR or whatever on SWR, then we can pull this in and put it to use. But as I say, this is another little box of things that I've had tucked away for a number of years. Never really used it apart from once, in terms of setting up the antenna a few years ago. But that's all my bits, other than just random other stuff. You've got the new rigs I showed you before, they're going out for sale this week, so they don't count for anything. But I've got a Kerno Beta 1100 and then my Midland Power Pack that lives in there. Got two other rigs, one's there actually. So I've got a bunch of old handhelds as well, excuse the vape in the way. Yeah, these were like the first rigs I ever bought when me and the kids were just mucking about in the garden. That one and that one. The old Sonic, and what's that? That's a Maxcom 7E. Part of one of those emergency package. Like you could buy the radio and an antenna and all sorts of stuff with it. In the 1980s when it came out. Then you've got one other. That's the Eurosonic you've seen in a number of other videos. And then I've got this other handheld, the Skiptronic, which I did actually offer to a neighbour recently. She's only 2 doors away, but just did say to her, with all the again the coronavirus stuff going on, if she wanted to keep hold of it, she can give me a shout. She declined it, but that's not a bother. And then I've got one other antenna, just centre fed, whatever you call it. Centre loaded, that's what I'm aiming at. Antenna, again, used temporarily, stick that on a mate's car with another rig and they can talk to you when we've been out driving. It's just there on standby for whatever reason. And again, if I just want to plug an aerial in whilst I'm testing radios or whatever, that's another way it can be done. I don't have a dummy load currently, so that would be one option. So let's get to getting the actual radio set up itself and get it powered up and connected, and that'll probably be enough for one video, I'd say. So cleared everything out the way now, and really you've only got a couple of connections when it comes to radios. I've routed the coax back up, so connect that to the back of the radio, that goes out to the antenna. Obviously you've got the handheld connected, or the microphone I should say connected, and then we just need to connect the power to the relevant posts on there, and that's it, going to be powered up, and then we'll go and have a look at the aerial quickly. So back again, we've got everything connected up. Going to turn the radio on for the first time. I've got the aerial just run straight into the back of the rig, not swired anything in or anything like that, and that definitely is something that needs to be done. So there is a swire meter on the Anytone. I don't know how reliable it is, but generally it gives me a reasonable signal. Last time I checked it was about 1.2, which is works for me. I'm not going to be faffing around with my half wave every 10 minutes, but we'll see in terms of changes since the radio was last attached, if any tweaks or changes may be made. And as I said, I've got the antenna matcher as well if I did ever need to make some tweaks on that. So we'll turn it on just to show it working. Not sure what frequency we're on. Let's switch that out to a well-known one. Should be enough, shouldn't it? So 305. Just having a general listen to things, looking at the noise level, and that's been one of the issues with the radio for me, is the noise level around here. With the rig in exactly the same position, has gone up at least 2 S points, at least. Depends very much on the day or anything else, which is why I do want to start having the radio on again a bit more, see if we can get some signals in. But as I say, there's more work to be done. We've got to swell things up. Let me show you the antenna quick. Look at my Venom half wave, and I know I'm going to get comments. I always do get comments about how I've got things set up. It is freestanding on, I think it's 10 meters of pole. It is literally connected to that, what was an umbrella stand, a weighted umbrella stand, and then it's strapped into that drain pipe, which is metal. So lots of people do have things to say about it, and they are right. I'm not arguing, I'm not saying this is a good way of doing things, but I threw this up about 5 or 6 years ago. It's been bashed about by all sorts of major storms. We had 2 of them in you know, recent history, and it's still standing. It's battered, but it still functions. And as I say, the SWR doesn't give me any cause for concern. I've had it lower than it is or was last time I tested it, but don't do it this way, guys. That's what I'm telling everybody. You want a proper job. But it's stayed there, nested in the little corner of that building. It waves around a bit in high winds, but it really don't move. And I'm not concerned for safety or anything else. The only issue that there might be is a degree of corrosion or whatever. As I say, I've not connected any of the I've not protected any of the connections or anything. Just threw it all together a few years ago, and it does seem to work, or at least it did. But as I say, I have seen a difference in noise levels recently, but I do think that's more to do with some building work that's happened next door. So we're back where the radio is. I think we'll call it a day there, but what I'll do is some other videos, a bit more in depth maybe, about setting the radio up, trying to get signals and such. So I'll see you again in another YouTube video. Cheers, guys.